Kofi.
Mr. Disu.
I can just manage you for 30 minutes.
Mr. Disu. No. We'll go together. All right. It reminds me of Festus Odimego, I think was.
That was way back.
Oh, yeah.
It was way back.
It was a dazzling CEO. MD.
Way back. You know, they were. Breweries used to be a sister company to Liver Brothers.
Oh.
When I was there.
Okay.
So we did a lot of interaction.
Interesting.
Happy birthday, Emmanuel.
All right, fantastic.
Yes.
Happy birthday to him. Let's start from the politics pages. Now it's politics and policy, rather, pages of The Guardian. How Tinubu's Lagos visit exposes rift, and this is in inverted commas, rift with Sanwo-Olu. The once cordial relationship between the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his longtime political protege, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, appears to be fraying with no signs of reconciliation in sight. Party stakeholders are becoming increasingly concerned.
Okay, and now I'd please like us to... Can you please reduce the music?
Yes.
Please, thank you. Please, I'd like us to listen to this carefully. This is a fantastic full-page article in The Guardian. It's on page 27. And the headline is that how Tinubu's Lagos visit exposes rift with Sanwo-Olu. The Lagosians have been getting a bit worried about the president's attitude to the governor, which just didn't start yesterday. I mean, the story's making the rounds. The Guardian does a full-page report on this, and I'm going to try to do as much work as I can on this without spending the whole half hour. It starts the story. It says that neither President Bola Tinubu nor Governor Sanwo-Olu has publicly acknowledged any rift between them, sources within the APC at the national, zonal, and state levels confirm that a subtle but widening gap now separates the president and the Lagos governor, and I am one of those who feel so concerned about this. In fact, there are very strong indications that if care is not taken, the governor might not even complete his second term. It is as bad as that. That is the rumors flying. In politics, really, sometimes it's difficult for you to hold on to the core of the matter. All kinds of variation of reports and so on will be flying around. But to manage the optics, the president's media team reportedly issued strict instructions that footage of the airport arrival, particularly the greeting scene, not be broadcast. You heard that. Aides were allegedly directed to edit or suppress any clips that might confirm speculation about the strained ties. According to a high-level source privy to internal conversations, Governor Sanwo-Olu was also sidelined from escorting the president to his Bodilon residence in Ikoyi, a role traditionally reserved for the sitting governor of Lagos. Instead, it was Hamzat that accompanied Tinubu, further underscoring the altered dynamics between the two. Now listen to this. The absence of Governor Sanwo-Olu and top members of the administration from key events during the president's visit, including the high-profile 50th anniversary celebration of ECOWAS held at NIA, also raised eyebrows. Now that defies protocol, but because usually when the president is in town, the host governor becomes the chief host of whatever event it is. Held in Victoria Island, the event was expected to draw the presence of the host governor. Okay, but Governor Sanwo-Olu was nowhere to be seen. When pressed, a member of his media team told The Guardian, the governor had an important engagement. There's no engagement that, except he has a hospital appointment in the emergency department that he will have, that will stop him, that really should stop him from being where the president is. And it also says that the governor and his aides were also noticeably absent throughout Friday during President Tinubu's engagement across the state. Sources within the villa and Lagos APC confirmed that Sanwo-Olu's name was officially omitted from the official protocol manifest for receiving the president. The Guardian reports that it took intense last-minute lobbying and persuasion to get the governor included. One insider told The Guardian, otherwise, only the deputy governor was supposed to be at the airport. Another shocker, listen to this. Further fueling the speculation was the conspicuous absence of Lagos APC stalwarts, particularly members of the influential DAC, from the Bodilon residence. While political associates still came to pay homage to the president, the usual fanfare, solidarity visits, and photo ops were markedly subdued. Though no official reason has been given for the simmering discord, political analysts speculate that tensions may stem from policy disagreements, alleged lapses in loyalty, or unspoken differences over Lagos 27 succession plan. Some also point to whispers that certain appointments and decisions taken by Sanwo-Olu since his re-election have not sat well with the president. Now there have been rumors also that the Obasa incident, there have been rumors that it was speculated that maybe the president thought that the governor was fueling whatever was behind all that. There's also the story of the lady who was wanted by the EFCC, claimed to have a connection with Sanwo-Olu. A lot of these rumors, really, you can't put your hand on them. But he says here, and that's why you should get this report. He says, beyond Sanwo-Olu's visible absence during President Tinubu's recent visit to Lagos, political watchers are more intrigued by his conspicuous non-attendance at the APC National Policy and Performance Review Summit in Abuja, where the president was formally endorsed for a second time. Okay? And he says that feelers have it that Sanwo-Olu may have been barred from the presidential villa in the aftermath of a politically sensitive attempt to unseat Obasa. This dramatic episode nearly upended the internal cohesion of the Lagos APC, and it is believed to have severely strained relationships between the governor and the president. And it goes on, the analysis is, but we don't have that much time. Essentially, I think one can come to the conclusion that all is not well between the president and between the governor. Certainly something is amiss. My advice to the president, though, is he should be very careful, because Lagos is one of his big backbones. And with a rift like this, you never know which way it will go. For example, you could find some people saying that, does it have to do, is his son going to run for president? For state governor? Yes, it could have something to, some people could say it could have something to do with that. All kinds of speculations are on the table as to, and you never know where the sympathies will lie. I've spoken to a few people, even within the APC, top politicians, and one of them has said that the president shouldn't forget the role that Sanwo-Olu played, in his emergence as president. You all know the way the election was going, and the efforts that it is said that Governor Sanwo-Olu put into that. So it's something that we are going to keep our eyes on. All kinds of speculations are on the table when it comes to political things like this. But we'll keep abreast of the development. When we hear of something new, we will let you know ASAP.
All right, so we'll leave it at that. Let's go to the opinion page of today's Daily Trust, which always has good coverage of northern Nigeria. This time they're looking at the president's performance, a balanced appraisal of President Tinubu's 2 years in office.
And that is what it is, really. It's a balanced appraisal. When I read it this morning, I said, well, it's balanced. The editorial argues that there's no disputing that President Tinubu has undertaken bold reforms, some of which may yield long-term benefits in mitigating Nigeria's economic challenges. However, it is equally crucial to scrutinize the immediate and intermediate effects of these policies, particularly on the most vulnerable segments of society. The rate of hunger today, you can't tell people to stay hungry today and they will eat tomorrow. Before tomorrow comes, they'll probably be dead anyway. And the editorial admits that the most glaring flaw of this government has been its impulsive and often knee-jerk approach to policy implementation, which suggests inadequate forethought and poor rationalization of consequences. And this has fostered a perception of governance by reaction rather than proactive strategy. Okay, and it talks about a bizarre fire brigade style of leadership that exacerbates instability rather than fostering sustainable progress. Also, I'd like to add, one of the greatest problems of this government is the optics. You say one thing and do another. You say Nigerians to tighten their belt, you buy new planes, you buy new vehicles, you have members of your family strutting all over, you have your minister running around town in the most luxurious cars. That is a particular problem. But the key areas of concern listed by the trust are the following. One, tone-deaf leadership amid economic hardship. Tone-deaf leadership. Two, this one, of course, has been seriously identified. Lopsided appointments and exclusionary governance. Okay. Three, erosion of institutional checks and balances. Okay. But however, that's why I say it's balanced. The editorial says, and I agree with it with the editorial to a large extent. It says, to be fair, President Tinubu deserves commendation for confronting politically contentious issues, such as the removal of subsidies and the unification of exchange rates through painful but necessary reforms with potential long-term benefits. And similarly, the establishment of development commissions across the 6 geopolitical zones could foster interregional collaboration and equitable growth. But the editorial says, however, these strides do not negate the urgent need for course correction. So, yes, I also agree with this knee-jerk. The president on the very first day, without even going through the books, going through anything, just said that subsidy is over. And in one fell swoop, within a few minutes of his becoming president, he pushed Nigeria into a very dark hole. And the way things are going, it appears we are going deeper into that hole. When we're going to bounce back, only God knows. But the trust says this: the next 2 years present an opportunity for redemption, but only if these specific concerns are met with decisive inaction. So that is remember, it's from the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust is a northern-based paper, and so that is their own take, which incidentally aligns to a very large extent with mine.
All right, let's go back. We still Daily Trust this time. Some sad story, of course. Zamfara airstrikes, people have been talking about it. The paper has coverage of this, and I believe you chose the paper's coverage because of their integrity in Northern Matters.
Northern Matters, yes.
Nigerian Air Force locals differ over casualty figures, experts speak.
Okay, so I had people calling on your program about this accident that happened in which the Nigerian Air Force bombed locals. This is an intel disaster, because before the Air Force goes into any situation, from the little I know about warfare, not much, but the little that I know, intel plays a large part into all this. It's intel that will tell you this is where they are, this is what they're likely to look like, this is what they're wearing, and so on and so forth. I don't believe in some of the conspiracies that I heard people calling this morning. And the reason is simply this: when you talk about the Nigerian Air Force, you don't even know the national behind the aircrafts. And nobody within the Air Force is going to come together and say, let's pursue a northern agenda. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You could find the pilots could have been, they might not have been Hausa Fulani like some people were saying. They could be Igbo, they could be anything. They could be mercenaries. So let's get that absolutely clear. I don't think there was that kind of sabotage. Rather, I think it was a collapse of intel and coordination. That is where I think it was a collapse of intel and coordination. The story says that the attack, according to locals, left several residents dead and over 50 others abducted, mostly farmers working on their fields. Eyewitness said the assailants arrived on motorcycles around noon, opening fire indiscriminately and causing widespread panic. Another thing that seems to have a failing here could also be the level of training. You see, it's one thing to put the uniform on a man or to put him in an aircraft. It's another thing to show him this is the trigger, pull it when necessary. But you have to train. Is our training faulty? Because this is it's becoming recurrent. Is our training faulty? Are we being shortchanged in the training given to? Don't forget that you depend on the Western world really and truly to train up to that level. Your combatants, are they giving that full training? Who knows? But we all need to be very careful about this matter because it is extremely sensitive. And we should realize that all these things we are talking about, lives are on the line on all sides. So we'll see what will happen. With the report says that the investigation is going on, and the Air Force will soon give us a full report on what could have happened here. But may the souls of the departed rest in perfect peace.
Amen. The question is, how many more departed?
Well, if like I said, you see, this is if you have an institutional problem, what do you do? Do you shut down? Do you send all your pilots back for training? You understand what I'm saying? So let's see the report. Let's know where I don't believe there was sabotage in that this accident that happened. I think it was lack of intel and training and coordination. I think that was what it is. Do you think there was sabotage?
I don't know.
Because they're looking at me kind of funny.
I don't know. All I know is that this is the third time it's happening this year.
Yes, if for example your pilots are not trained well, it could continue to happen. It will continue to happen. If there's a training problem, if you have a problem with intel, which is where sabotage could probably come from, it will continue to happen.
Sir, I think it was last week or so when the president made a statement where he said that they're trying. The military, the armed forces are trying. But one thing he wants them to do is to try and reduce the collateral damage that is suffered and casualties on civilians, lives lost that this is being suffered. So that's something that is a bit too much. 12 months, we've had 6 incidents. And
then there's an institutional problem.
I mean, if something
keeps... There's an institutional problem.
Sir, if something like this keeps happening over and over again, that in the space of 12 months, 6 times...
But as I said,
Kofi,
what are you talking about? Even the police, we have so many accidental discharge. Sure. How many times have you heard the Metropolitan Police being involved in a case of accidental discharge?
Do they even know what accidental discharge is?
Yes, it's training. It's training. It's training.
Sure.
And that's what it is. It's training. Like I said, it's not enough to have the skill to start the aircraft and put it in the air, to take a proper shot itself. It's training. It shows that there is an institutional problem. And I don't believe in this sabotage that some people were trying to tout this morning. We know the agenda. It is the Nigerian Air Force. You don't even know the nationalities or the states or whatever, the state of origins of all the pilots and so on and so forth.
Sure.
And this idea where people think that some people could get together, it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way.
Talk about training and competence. It reminds me of the young girl who was tragically killed on an Air Force base. Who was one of the best hands.
Yes.
All God knows, maybe by now should have been one of those doing the good work and not making this kind of mistakes.
Sometimes the fact that you come first in an exam or in a school does not mean that you are the best ever.
No, it wasn't just exam. She actually was.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just using that as an analogy. When people say the best hands from what?
Okay, true. Funny, she died in an accident, right?
Yes.
On an airbase. All right. Let's move on. Vanguard Tuesday, page 8 has a very interesting story, and it's interesting that you've chosen this one. I can't wait to hear what you think about it. No one can sack me from PDP. Wike.
Okay, so he had one of these one of these, I must say bluntly, I find irritating this so-called media chat. I don't know whether his media chats are monthly. You close down the networks, and you spend half the time talking about yourself and your political whatever. And our senior colleagues sit down and face all that. I mean, in between all this, somebody asked him, for example, a question about Chief Judge. He made he insulted the man completely. And how our colleagues sit down and face this on a monthly basis, and I honestly don't understand. I think Governor Wike is going a bit too far. He's arrogating too much importance to himself. He's more or less even trying to outshine the president. I hope the president's media team begin to note that. And I would advise him to be very, very careful in his rhetoric, in his manners. He needs to be very, very careful. I don't think I want to review anything that it's not Wike. It's not the most important person in the political terrain today, and I won't be a party to giving anybody an undue importance that I don't consider deserving of him. I just like to use this opportunity to to advise our colleagues that we need to be very careful, so we are not used as tools for some things. So for some things that are totally. I need to be very careful with my words. But I'm not going to review this story. I'm not interested in what the man has to say. Because I begin to wonder, what party does he belong to? What exactly is his what does he want? What exactly is he all about? And what must it always be about him? He's not the first minister for the federal capital we are going to get. He's not the first prominent politician we are going to get. And this idea of shutting down networks every month is becoming irritating.
Networks?
Yes. It's becoming irritating. I know that times are hard, but these are the times when the media itself should make sure that it's not being used for people's personal whatever, to become overbearing and overboard. Let's go on to the next one, Daddy. I'm not talking to anything. It's Kofi, listen. I think I told you this yes. Downstairs. Yes. It's true that he's paid, but it shouldn't always be about money.
Or the media.
For God's sake, it shouldn't always be about money. He was the one. For example, nobody. Okay, why didn't anybody in that place? Are they going to tell me that they didn't see him? See a video of him coming down, attending an event in a Rolls Royce? What is all this?
So are you saying if a Nigerian foe is approached by Wike?
I cannot go. What kind of a question? What kind of question are you asking me? I don't work here.
No, you're blaming the.
I'm not blaming anybody, Kofi.
The media houses.
I'm not blaming. You see, you're putting words. I'm not blaming.
I'm taking it.
What I'm just saying is that on point of principle, we media houses have to be principled about the way we are used. I find it irritable that every month somebody would shut down networks in the name of a media chat and end up using half of it to rain abuses on people. What is wrong with us as a nation? What is wrong with us as a people? What is wrong with us as a media? A guy shuts down the network, spends half the time insulting everybody left, right, and center.
Mr. Disu.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, he's an important personality in the drama that is unfolding or engulfing the PDP, and he's made an important statement saying no one can sack him from the PDP. And the PDP is a huge.
That's what Nigerians. If he gets sacked and he doesn't get sacked, what Nigerians want are things that are going to put food on the table. And what's so important is just one individual out of a whole party, for God's sake.
All right, Mr. Disu is certainly visibly not impressed.
I'm not impressed because I'm always very conscious about the media being given a bad name. We seem to be encouraging this. I know that times are hard because that's the trick, really. You buy up airtime, but I believe just like when I was fully involved in newspaper, there were some newspapers who will not sell out their front page for ads.
Have you
cover?
Have you sat down to really listen to a full Donald Trump interview on maybe CNN or NBC or CBS?
Why? What is my business with Donald Trump? Why do you say that?
Since they're talking about the Nigerian media, I mean,
look,
Trump said
I don't like this. I know where you are going. I don't like this idea where you think that whatever is done in America is right. Why are you asking me if I've sat down to hear? So what point are you trying to make? Because it's done in America, it makes it right?
That's not my point, Mr.
Okay, what is your point?
Let's move on. Let's move on. Viral. I mean, I do agree with what some of what you said.
I agree.
But I think the media basically needs to give everybody a say. And if we need to
give everybody a say, but we should be responsible and patriotic. I mean, in doing it. Are you going to say that we should give every Tom, Dick, and Harry? We can sell out airtime for them to come rant day in, day out because they have the means to do so?
Well, this is not day in, day out. But Mr. Disu, I get your point. I don't want us to drag this beyond.
You are the one dragging it.
Yeah, that's why I'm ending it now. You said I was putting words in your mouth, so I had to take them out. Let's stay with the Vanguard. Vanguard Tuesday. Viral video, Governor Eno's daughter manipulated by false prophets is Akwa Ibom State government.
No, we saw the video again. The video went viral. You saw the video that went viral with the governor's daughter, Governor of Akwa Ibom, Governor Eno, and the accusations that the daughter made. It's a pity because I would have thought that a gentleman who is faced with this kind of thing from inside his home, where your daughter is accusing you of having killed your wife, I would have thought that you would leave public office more so as a pastor and go back home and tidy up your home. But we are not those kind of people. Usually for us, being whatever appointments we have are more important than what we are made to understand that this had been in the past, and they said that they honestly don't know why it is coming up again. It will always come up, because it has not been fully addressed. But here they say that this is the official statement. The official statement of the government says that the Governor Eno's daughter was manipulated by false prophets. And this is what they say. It is discerning that a private and traumatic moment involving a grieving young girl is now being maliciously weaponized in an attempt to tarnish the image of the governor. It was the governor's daughter that made it public. So, at no point in the said video did the child accuse the governor of causing her mother. I don't want to go into that, but we know what we saw. But I do not like this last statement of the spokesperson of the government, where he says the administration of governor will not be distracted from the steady and focused implementation of the Arise agenda. Excuse me, what do you mean you will not be distracted? There's a distraction already. And why do we keep picking these phrases from whichever book? It's an insult to people. To say it's a distraction for everybody. If a governor is being accused by his own daughter of killing his wife, and you think it's a mere distraction, heaven help us all. And on that note, I think I'd like to end. I'd like to end.
Yeah, we got to go. Mr. Disu, it's been interesting doing this with you.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't forget, I've taken my words out of your mouth, though. All right, my name is Kofi Bartels, and of course, you've been listening to Analysis with Jimi Disu. He'll be back tomorrow, and we have the news at 8 up next in the morning. Crossfire continues. Please stay with us. Good morning.
The Center for News. Hello, Lagos. Good evening. Welcome back. You're listening.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.